guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my September wrap-up. Going to go through all the books that I read in September. I kind of had a small reading month. September has been the least amount of books that I read. I read 9, which is still a lot. Like, there's no right or wrong answer to, like, how many books you should read. It's just my average books per month is higher. So, anyway, we read 9 books total. So let's get started. The first book that I read actually was an ARC. I read Never Over by Claire Gilmore. This book comes out at the end of October. I already forgot the girl's name. Paige. It follows Paige, who is a songwriter, and she is trying to get her career started in Nashville, and she is called in by like a producer or something for her songs, and he tells her that she has potential, but she needs to write her songs with more substance. Like, they need to be about something, and the best song that she's ever written was about this guy named Liam that she met while he was in college, and she was just living with her sister who was in college, so she never went to college. And they became best friends and kind of had like more like a situationship. They just never got around to actually being boyfriend and girlfriend, but they were basically boyfriend and girlfriend. And then something happened between them, and she wrote a song about it, and it's her most emotional, personal song that she's ever written. So she's like, okay, I have to find Liam 5 years later and get him to break my heart again. That's how I write the best songs. So she does. She goes and finds him, and he basically agrees. Like, they make this deal to where they're going to hang out, and he's going to help her write more songs, like be her muse basically. But he was like, okay, we're gonna try this again for real this time. I can't go into this purposely trying to break your heart. So they set some ground rules for this. She follows him around for his work. He does, like, I don't know what it's called. He's like on the crew for this tour for artists. So she goes on tour with him, and being around other artists also helps her songwriting, and then kind of dating him. But they're trying to give it like a real chance and like talk about like what happened and communicate. And so the story's told between the past and then the present, so you slowly find out pieces of their past and like what led to them separating. I don't know, I think the ending, like, it totally took me by surprise. I love the songwriting element. I feel like that made it like really personal and just gave it like a deeper level, if that makes sense. And I love second chance romances, so that was really good. And I gave that one a 4.5. So when that comes out, I would definitely recommend picking that out. It's the first book that I've read by Claire Gilmore. I have another one on my TBR, so I definitely want to get to that one next because I really enjoyed Never Over. Okay, and then next I read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This one is about Sarah Swan, who is running this magical bed and breakfast with her great aunt. Basically starts with her, she used to be like a really powerful witch, and then one day she cast a spell that took up so much of her power that it kind of diminished them, and now she has like a slight touch of it, and she doesn't know how to get it back, and she's been exiled from like the witches guild because of performing this spell. So she runs this bed and breakfast with her aunt and like makes it cozy with what magic she has left, and she's basically still she's been spending all this time trying to figure out how to get her magic back, and she finds a spell to do that. And one of the Inn's newest guests is Luke Larson. He's a magical historian. I don't think he has magic. How do I not remember? I feel like he doesn't. He's just a magical historian. He knows how to translate the spell that Sarah has found to bring her powers back, and he is kind of grumpy, and he's like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I'm not helping you. Because he doesn't want to be exiled from the guild like her. Anyway. But then he ends up agreeing to help her interpret it and find the ingredients that they need. And it's just more of a cozy, witchy book. Not much plot. It kind of felt like it was dragging out, but if you go into it not expecting, like, you just have to go into this for the vibes only. Like, there's not much of a plot besides her trying to get her magic back, but it's like very slow. Just a cozy read. I gave this one a 4-star. The author of this also wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I also would recommend reading that one. These are just great cozy reads for the fall time. Then the next book I read was Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This is the 4th and final book in the Rose Hill series, which is crazy that she's already finished another series and is already planning another one. But this one is about Sebastian Rousseau, who is a grumpy single dad. This entire series is about single dads, if you didn't know. And it's not like your typical, they're not dads in like the typical sense. Like, they're all kind of like dads in different ways. Like, he didn't know he had a son until 20 years later. And is trying to be in his son's life. And then he meets Gwen one night at an airport when their flight is delayed, and they have like spend the night together and have so much fun. Somehow they're brought back together and they end up living together because Crazy Clyde, if you've read this book, you know who Clyde is. He's like this very eccentric old man in this town. He's kind of crazy, and he's like he's like a conspiracy theorist, and he's just great. I love him. I love Clyde, especially getting more of him in this one because you only get glimpses of him in the other books, but he's more involved in this one because of Bash and Gwen. So Gwen moves in with Bash to help take care of Clyde. And they're like, they both have these feelings for each other, but because she dated Bash's son, Bash doesn't want to risk his relationship with his son because he's trying to have a relationship because he just met him, you know? And Gwen also doesn't want to ruin that for him, but, you know, they can't deny their feelings. And, you know, in classic Elsie Silver style, there's a lot of spice in this. But, I don't know, I just always enjoy her books. I do. It's not my favorite in the series, but I did really enjoy it. And I'll just read anything that Elsie Silver writes, so. And the next book I read was Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This is just a mystery thriller it takes place in the 1990s where a college student named Charlie is trying to get back home. She's basically leaving college because dropping out of college. She doesn't know if she's going to go back because her best friend died recently, like was killed by a known serial killer on campus. And she feels a lot of guilt about it because they had a fight before it happened, and she says they had really a lot of guilt about it, and so she wants to go home and she needs a ride. So she meets Josh, who at like the rideshare board, and agrees to ride with him because he's on his way, like will be passing through her town on his way home, and she's realizing while she's in the car that he might be a serial killer too, because there's just some things about him that aren't adding up. And it's just interesting to see, who Josh really is, and if she's gonna find out, because he does act suspicious. But there's other people acting suspicious. It's just a great read. It takes place all in one night, obviously. I actually really liked the ending. I thought that was a very cool, I don't know, not really twist, but I just thought the ending was really cool. I gave this one 4 stars. I don't really read mysteries a lot, but this one was really fast-paced. Next, I read The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and I really enjoyed this one. I didn't really have high expectations for this, even though I've seen really good reviews for this, but I read One Dark Window, that duology by her, and I really want to reread that one because I feel like the first time I read it, I just did not understand it at all, and I think I would really enjoy it. So I didn't really have high expectations going into this one just because the first time I read her other series, I didn't really enjoy it. But I love this one. This one is about Sybil, who is a diviner, and basically she tells, like, prophecies, I guess. But it's a gothic fantasy. And she meets Rory, who is a knight for the king in this realm, and he thinks that, you know, divination, like that kind of thing, is like stupid and all that stuff. And Sybil, as a diviner, she's in service to whoever, like the main cathedral where she's at. She has to be a diviner for 10 years and then she'll be free. So she's never seen like the outside world. No one knows what she looks like, all that stuff, because they wear like a shroud over their face. All of a sudden, all of the other diviners that she lives with, there's 5 other ones, go missing, and she wants to find them. So Roy agrees to help her, and she ventures out of the cathedral for the first time and is realizing all these things just aren't adding up. It's not the same as what she's been told by her mentor. So I really enjoyed the concept of this. My favorite character is the gargoyle. He was so funny. Literally so funny. I loved him so much. I think there's going to be a second book to this one. I think this is a duology, and I'm really excited to read it. I don't really know what to give this one, because I feel like 4 is just like too basic, but I don't know. Maybe 4.25. I really had a great time reading this one. Then I read Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This one I actually listened to most of, and I really enjoyed the audiobook because I like listening to Marcellus, who is the octopus in this. This is just a general fiction about Tova Sullivan, who her husband's died recently, and she is getting older, but she still works as like a janitor, as a cleaner for the aquarium. And she befriends the octopus, whose name is Marcellus. She befriends him, and he has his own point of views, like you read in his point of views in some of them, and he's just really funny, like the way he like observes humans and understands so much more than we would expect an octopus to understand. I really like that aspect of it. I wish I got more of his point of views, because his point of views are really short, like maybe like a page or 2. It made me tear up at the end. It was so good. There's like this whole other story going on about, like, you get a bunch of different point of views, and while you're reading it, you're like, okay, how are all these people going to meet? How do their stories intertwine? What do they have to do with each other? And I really liked the way that they all came together, all these point of views, and how interconnected they were. And Marcellus's, I can't think of the word, Marcellus's, like, he kind of intervenes in, like, what the humans are doing. I can't think of the word. His role in all of that. Okay. I don't know why that was so hard. And then the ending was really good. It made me tear up. It was really good. I honestly never expected to read from a point of view of an octopus, but I really loved it. And I gave this one a 4.25. Okay, the next book that I read was Between Friends and Lovers by Charlene. I don't know how to say the last name, but this one is a romance. Kind of giving more of just like general fiction though, not really a romance. But this one follows Josephine Boating. I'm not sure how to say it, but she's like a popular influencer. She's a doctor, and she does like, she makes content about health and self-love, and she's just really popular. And she has a best friend, Ezra, who she's been in love with for a while. They've been friends for years. Like they bonded in college and have been best friends ever since. And she is in love with him, but he's never really reciprocated that. I don't know if he didn't really know that she was in love with him, or did, but like never acknowledged it. And so she has to deal with like his slew of girlfriends. And she finally tells him when he shows up to his birthday party with her bully from school. He defends the bully and like doesn't take Joe's side. So she's like, okay, I have to move on from this. So then she meets Malcolm Waters, who is a new author. His debut novel is like taking the world by storm. Like he's getting a lot of traction, and he meets Joe, and there's kind of like a attraction between them, and they start to talk a lot and become friends. And she's never had a boyfriend, and she really wants to experience all of that, and she wants it to be with Malcolm. And I thought that honestly that she was just going to be using Malcolm to like get over Ezra, which is kind of what she's doing, but not in the sense like she's learning more about like how intentional love is and how she should be loved and appreciated when she wasn't getting that from Ezra. Like obviously they were best friends and he did care about her, but not in the way that she wanted, and Ezra was kind of selfish in that way. Her experiencing it from Malcolm and realizing that, like, she's getting the love that she deserved, like, loudly. Like, Malcolm is not afraid to show her how she should be treated. And then, yeah, it's basically just about that and her learning to let other people take care of her. And that, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was going to be more love triangle. I thought there's going to be more of a love triangle in this, honestly, but not really. It wasn't, like, super relevant where you thought, oh, who's she going to end up with? Like, it was kind of obvious. I really enjoyed this one. And I gave that one a 4-star, by the way. Then I read People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. This is her newest release. This is about Prudence Welsh, who lives in a small town, charming touristy town in northern Ontario. She has always had big dreams of living, like, this great life and traveling, but her mother has early onset Alzheimer's, so she puts her dreams on hold to stay home and help her dad take care of her mom. And her parents her dad feels bad for kind of, like, keeping her from experiencing all these things, but Prue's pretty happy where she is. She likes taking care of her family and doesn't really long for that, like, great life anymore, or, like, knows it's, like, it's not for her. And then she meets Milo, who is in town because his brother lives in her town and needed him to come help him because he's opening up a brewery. Also, Prue has never been in a relationship. She's a virgin also, and Milo is very experienced. We'll just say that. He somehow has a connection to Prudence's mom, and they become friends and also form an agreement for casual sex lessons. So he's basically giving her sex lessons. And he's like, I don't do commitment. That will never be me. And then, obviously, it's a romance. They're both going to catch feelings. My problem with this one is that I really enjoyed it. Like, I read it very fast. Like, it was very fast paced. And I had a good time reading it. But I think, like, just compared to her other books, I just feel like it was very physical and lusty. A lot more spice than actually getting to know the characters and, like, how they work together. I just feel like I was just reading about them being, intimate with each other, and it just felt more physical. I enjoyed the emotional parts that we got more than that. I just wish there were more of it, if that makes sense. And also the way Milo just, like, immediately, I don't know how much time takes place in this, but I feel like he, like, turned around really fast where he was like, I don't do relationships or commitment. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, Prue's for me. That just was very sudden to me. And I just wish there was less spice in it, basically. I wish we got more about Milo's character and his family, and also more about Prue, and then, like, also them connecting emotionally. I wish there was more of that. I think that definitely would have made me like it a little bit more. So I do think I'm going to give this one a 3.5. It was still good, but I just wish there was more of their emotional connection. But I read a novella by Frederick Bachman on my Kindle called And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. And this one is about, it's kind of hard to describe. It's about this boy and his grandpa. His grandpa is starting to develop, I guess, Alzheimer's. And he's, like, telling the boy, you're reading more of, like, through the grandpa's point of view. His wife died earlier on, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, my mind is getting smaller and smaller. He's starting to remember less, and he's like, I don't know how to tell Noah that it'll be okay once I'm gone. Like, his mind will be gone. The boy's like, I'll remind you of all these things, Grandpa, like, so you don't forget. And it's, like, really sweet and emotional. It's, like, less than 70 pages. And it's just the way Frederick Bachman writes. It's just so good. Even, like, in such a small story like that. And the way it ends, like, how it kind of goes back and forth between, like, the grandpa and his grandson, and then the grandpa and with his actual son, and then the grandpa talking to the grandma, like, in his mind, I guess. But I really enjoyed it. The ending made me tear up. Just, like, it just came full circle. It was so good. I don't really want to say too much about it just because it's such a short story and basically I just give away the whole thing. But I really enjoyed it. It was really sweet. His writing is just amazing. Speaking of Frederick Bachman's writing, I meant to mention that Remarkably Bright Creatures, the way all the point of views came together and all the information that you get comes together in the end, reminded me a lot of Frederick Bachman's writing, because he does that a lot where he gives you pieces of information at different times and will like go back, like jump around. This is kind of similar in that way. And then when you see it all come together, like all those pieces of information that are, you're like, why am I getting this now? Or when are we going to go back to that? And then you finally do. It's just so good. Like the storytelling, just amazing. So those are all the books that I read in September. I did have a DNF, The Night Circus. I got about halfway through. I was just not enjoying this. Like, I was trying to get at least 50% in before I DNF'd it. I already knew, like, from the beginning I wasn't enjoying it. There's so many point of views in this one and so many characters. I'm like, who even is this about? This is supposed to be about Celia and Marco. I know nothing about them at this point. And there's supposed to be a duel between them. And we're 50% through. And nothing happens. I think nothing just went over my head. Like, I have no clue what this is about. I don't understand the magic in this. I don't understand the circus. I don't understand. I was reading reviews just to see if, like, there was something wrong with me. Like, why am I missing? Like, why am I not understanding it? And some of the reviews said that, like, all the point of views that you're getting of these other characters are just minor characters that have something to do with the circus, but, like, are very minor. So I feel like, so it makes me feel a little bit better, like, with all the point of views. I feel like I didn't want all the point of views. I wanted to read about Celia and Marco, because it's supposed to be about them, in a duel between them. And then in the end, there's not really even a duel. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna finish it. I was listening to it on audio to try and get further into it, and I don't want to waste my time listening to it or waste my Spotify hours, honestly. So, yeah, I had a DNF. But anyway, those are all the books that I read in September. Hopefully October I'll be able to read more books. We'll see. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, all those good things, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!